Just letting everyone in Australia know that James Charles is sleeping with Evan Johnson, the one that broke Kayla Malik's jaw and badly, the one that was in prison. James Charles has been housing the flying him out to sleep with him.
We seriously need to talk about James Charles because, yep, he's back in the spotlight, and it ain't for anything good. His name is blowing up again because people can't stop buzzing about his messy rep. So, not long ago, I covered James when Kayla Malik dropped a bombshell about her ex, Evan Johnson. And guess who was linked to him? James freaking Charles! The internet went wild when Kayla shared her side, and now, even more teas spilling from behind the scenes. I already told y'all how James was getting dragged for two major things. First, being a terrible friend, and second, sliding back into his old messy habits. Over the past few years, James really tried to clean up his act. He even launched his own makeup brand and started winning over a younger crowd who didn't know the full history. People started flooding his comment section saying stuff like, "Why do people hate him again?" Or, "James is actually kind of funny now." Some even said they liked him. But now, everybody's getting a harsh reminder of why James keeps getting called out over and over, and why he can't seem to escape the same drama. Let's rewind. Kayla Malik came forward with videos exposing Evan Johnson, revealing some seriously awful things he did to her. The internet had her back, cheering her on for sharing those horrific details. It was heartbreaking but powerful. Then, boom! One of Evan's old friends popped up online to back Kayla up and, out of nowhere, dropped a massive reveal. James Charles was tangled up in this whole mess. Even though James was supposed to be friends with Kayla and knew all the dark stuff that went down between her and Evan, he still chose to mess around with Evan. Not only did James look shady for trying to hook up with his friend's ex, but people started accusing him of doing even worse. They said he was letting Evan crash at his place and coaching him on how to survive the internet backlash while everyone was finding out what he did to Kayla. Can you believe that? James's so-called redemption era is crumbling fast. And this drama ain't slowing down. So, Zach, yeah, Evan's former friend, came forward in his video and admitted he was cool with Evan up until recently. But once he saw Kayla's video, he switched sides fast and threw his full support behind her. Respect for that. But James? Oh, he's been radio silent. Not a single word from him in public. Like, seriously? At the very least, he could have said something like, "Evan told me a whole different story, but after watching Kayla's video, I'm disgusted." Even if it wouldn't make him look like a perfect friend, it'd show he's not completely heartless. But nope, not a peep. And staying quiet only raises more questions. Like, why would you be letting someone with serious allegations against them crash at your place? That's not just bad judgment. That's reckless. Instead, James seems to be trying to ride this storm out in silence, hoping it all just blows over. But guess what? The story's getting bigger by the day because more people are calling him out.
I don't know, with problematic people, sometimes people will show themselves to you, and you could either choose to listen or choose to ignore it. And yeah, so with the new things I see happening, again, it's all alleged. I don't know if anything is true, but I mean, if it were to be true, I'm not surprised. And I worry about the ethics. I worry about the fact that his whole new fan base is kids. Like, the reason he is having a resurgence is because it is children who are discovering him for the first time. And it's funny because there's a huge narrative online. I saw a lot during Coachella, people being like, "Oh my God, James is actually so funny. Like, why do we hate him?" And I'm realizing, like, the people don't know. People don't know why he has a bad reputation. Kids don't understand why. And they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to understand why. Like, that is not something that kids should be faced with. And, you know.
Antonio Garza even dropped a video speaking on this whole mess. And she wasn't the only one. Michaela Testa straight up dragged James for his shady behavior.
Just letting everyone in Australia know that James Charles is sleeping with Evan Johnson, the one that broke Kayla Malik's jaw and badly, the one that was in prison. James Charles has been housing the flying him out to sleep with him.
Now James is stuck in the same nasty cycle we've all seen before. He messes up, apologizes, lays low for a bit, starts posting like nothing happened, gets cocky, and bam! New scandal, same old vibe, like clockwork.
Yeah, James, you're fucking kid. We're gonna need like 27 more crying apologies. Not only is this guy a P3O, you get it? Befriended this Kayla girl who vented to him about her boyfriend and then went behind Kayla's back to smash or get smashed by this. I know he's just shit right now. Like he is so terrified. He's trying to hire like 19 PR teams to try to clean up this mess, and they're responding like, "No, kid, you're cooked." Kind of awesome now. People are starting to hold him accountable for his disgusting acts. So, James.
It's honestly wild at this point. He's been pulling the same tired, unapologetic act for years. The only thing that's changed? He switched the platforms he's messaging people on. Instead of Snapchat, now it's all going down in Instagram DMs. And he claims he's asking for IDs now. But come on, that doesn't fix the fact that he's still chasing the same type of young guys. And now, he's not just looking bad for that, he's also catching heat for being a straight-up awful friend. This whole situation is blowing up fast, and James's silence is making it a whole lot worse. So, Zach sat down for a deep dive interview with the YouTube channel Be Better Company. This wasn't just a quick chat, it was a full-on, almost hour-long expose spilling all the tea about James, Evan, and their messy connection. Zach shared that at first, Evan was just playfully messaging James. But real quick, things got private. According to Zach, it seemed like Evan only started talking to James like that because he and Kayla had already split. Evan had gained a bit of clout from dating Kayla, and when that ended, well, getting close to James was his next big move for more fame. Shady.
They were in communication every single day. When I speak on that I was with Evan every single day, I was with Evan majority of every single day. The only time I was not with Evan was when he went to Miami and then when he went to California. The times that I was with him, James would use Instagram as his Snapchat. And I didn't know, was not aware, why does James not have Snapchat? Why is he using Instagram photos, sending back and forth?
I can tell you why he doesn't have that.
And here's where it gets even messier. Zach revealed that James actually wanted Kayla and Evan to team up for a Valentine's Day promo for his painted makeup brand. But that's when James found out they had already broken up. And, get this, he even joked with Kayla about whether he could have Evan now. What? Who does that to a friend? But it didn't stop there. Later on, a DM surfaced that was allegedly from James to Zach. In it, James begged Zach to delete his TikTok video where Zach had accused James of hooking up with Evan and even letting him stay at his place. In the message, James was basically trying to clear his name. He claimed that Evan had manipulated him and that, after seeing Kayla's video, he completely cut ties. James supposedly wrote, "Hello, I'm just now seeing these. I'm absolutely not on his side and would really, really appreciate if you would leave me out of this. I only ever spoke to him because he manipulated me into thinking his situation was similar to what I went through. So, it was a really personal and sensitive topic that I had empathy for."
Evan sharing the snaps with you, were you looking over his shoulder? How did you see it? Was he kind of showing you and thought it was funny?
So at the beginning, he was showing me the snaps and thought I guess it was funny.
Funny, oh, look, I'm snapping James Charles.
And I'm getting, pictures.
Yeah.
But as time went by, it seemed like the friendship/relationship got very private.
Right.
After it got very private, James had changed the mode on Instagram to vanish mode.
He's been known to do that.
So everything that was getting sent, it would get sent and be completely gone. A message would go away. Yeah, just like Snapchat.
So now James is trying to paint himself as a victim in this whole disaster. But fans aren't so sure. And this DM only raised more eyebrows. In more leaked messages, James told Zach, As soon as I saw Kayla's video, I felt disgusting and awful, and I've stopped responding to him altogether. He's obviously manipulating and lying to everyone. I should have never spoken to him, but you were in the car with him, so I don't think it's fair you're making a video accusing me of being some monster when he had you convinced too. James continued, I'm sorry I didn't see your messages sooner. I wish I would've, but I appreciate you reached out to warn me. I'm at Coachella right now, but if you want to talk later today or tomorrow, I can make myself available. Now, let's break this down! James is basically saying Evan tricked him, painting himself as the real victim. He claimed Evan told him a sob story that mirrored what James had been through. James said he felt empathy because Evan was also lied on. But here's where things get shady. James has always said that when he was accused in the past, it was because people lied to him about their ages and tried to use him for clout. But he never denied actually messaging those people.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong. There was a situation where James Charles had wanted Evan Johnson and Kayla Malik to do a promotional material for his painted company for Valentine's Day, kind of having them be a couple of some kind, probably for his blush laundry, something like that. Looking back, that's obviously a little bit creepy because knowing that the entire time he was interacting with them, he wanted Kayla out of the picture and he's really the one that wanted Evan, that's already a little bit bizarre.
Yes.
So then James had reached out to Kayla and said something along the lines of, are we still good to do this Valentine's Day project? And Kayla said, oh, so funny, actually, we literally just broke up yesterday. Evan did some of the worst things a human being could ever do to someone to me. Explain the situation. And then James said,
So James came back after she said that and was like, can I have him now? Kayla thought he was completely joking. Like, literally thought her best friend, which is, James at the time, was just joking with her, saying that.
but that's already like a really inappropriate joke.
Yeah, that's...
Even if it is, but little did we know he wasn't joking.
So how exactly is Evan's situation similar to James's? That part just ain't adding up. And let's not ignore the fact that if James truly thought the accusations against Evan were false, that means he didn't believe Kayla, his own friend. Instead, he chose to trust her ex. Either way, it's a bad look. Plus, instead of fully owning up to his role, James tried to flip the blame back on Zach. He basically said, well, you were hanging out with Evan too, so why accuse me like I'm some monster? Seriously? At the end of the day, James's whole response just feels like damage control. And not a very convincing one. But it didn't stop there. After the leaked DMs, fans and drama channels exploded with opinions. Many felt James's excuses were getting old. Instead of clearing things up, it sounded like he was just dodging responsibility again. People started questioning if James truly cut Evan off after Kayla's video. Why didn't he say anything publicly? Why let rumors spiral out of control if he was innocent? And then came another bombshell. Receipts surfaced that showed James not only stayed in contact with Evan longer than he claimed, but may have also tried to quietly help him repair his image behind the scenes. What? Fans also pointed out how James's pattern was becoming way too familiar. Every time he got caught up in some scandal, he'd either stay silent or spin the story to make himself look like a victim. And when that didn't work, he'd apologize, disappear for a while, and then try to make a comeback like nothing ever happened. Sound familiar? Because it's exactly what happened here. To make things worse, more influencers started to break their silence. Some who used to be friends with James revealed that his good friend image was all smoke and mirrors. They claimed he had a habit of using people when it suited him and ditching them when things got messy. One creator even said, "I stayed quiet for years, but enough is enough. James isn't who he pretends to be." The internet was now fully divided. Some younger fans defended James, saying he was misunderstood and people just want to cancel him. But longtime followers weren't buying it. They believed this was just another chapter in James's never-ending controversy saga. And as the story kept growing, one thing was clear. This wasn't going away anytime soon. As the drama kept spiraling, things took another wild turn. Zach, who had already exposed so much, hinted there was even more tea he hadn't shared yet. On a live stream, he told viewers, "Y'all don't even know the half of it. If James keeps playing innocent, I might just drop the rest." That set the internet on fire! People flooded the comments begging Zach to spill the rest. Some even started trending the hashtag number, "Release the receipts."
As far as I know, his sexuality, Evan was straight.
Right, and it's hard to speculate because obviously it exists on a spectrum, but for the most part, he operated and identified as a straight man, which is actually James Charles.
Meanwhile, James kept his lips sealed. No tweets, no statements, just perfectly filtered Instagram stories showing off his Coachella outfits and makeup looks like nothing was happening. Fans were stunned. How could he post like everything was fine while his reputation was falling apart again? Drama channels quickly pointed out that this silent treatment was a classic James Charles move. Lay low, stay glamorous, hope people get bored and move on. But this time, it wasn't working. More former friends began speaking up. One TikToker said, "It's always the same cycle. We defend James, he promises he's changed, then boom, another scandal." Another creator added, "If you really cared about your friends, you wouldn't be housing their abusive exes or chasing clout relationships." At the same time, Kayla Malik's supporters kept growing. People praised her bravery for speaking out and exposing not just Evan, but the whole toxic circle surrounding him.
As well, you had also said that you believe that James had invited Evan to Coachella.
Yes. So, I was aware that I witnessed the conversation of James saying that he's going to the first weekend of Coachella and that he buys his team or something, so many people, I don't know if it's a solo team or what, an artist wristband for Coachella. Well, he had bought Evan one. Obviously, Evan hadn't received it. I don't know if he was going to fly him there and give it to him, but the plan was for Evan to go to Coachella and he was going to have an artist band. But the only thing is Evan was a little nervous because he was more likely Kayla's gonna be there, and it was going back and forth, and then James is they're trying to figure out how to work it out. But what stopped that is Kayla come forward to the world with her YouTube videos of 1 and 2. So obviously James was not gonna take him to Coachella then, because that would be insane.
So it wasn't enough for James to just have been told privately from someone who was his friend for years that this person did horrible things to me. It was when it became public that it became an inconvenience to him and he was willing to separate himself from Evan when it was a risk to his risk.
Many called for James to finally address everything publicly or step away from the spotlight for good. Some fans even brought up James's past controversies again, saying this wasn't just an isolated mistake, it was a pattern. At what point do we stop calling it a mistake and just call it who he really is? One person commented. And with Zach threatening to drop more receipts, the internet braced for what could be the final blow to James's crumbling image. So here's the kicker. Zach didn't hold back. He kept calling James out, not just for his sketchy behavior with Evan, but also for being a straight-up bad friend. Unlike James, Zach actually took some accountability. He admitted he was once close to Evan, but said he's now doing everything he can to support Kayla and make sure her story gets heard. Meanwhile, James, he's out here trying to sweep the whole mess under the rug. But the truth is clear. At the end of the day, James just keeps proving he's not the kind of friend he pretends to be. And the tea didn't stop there. Later in the convo, Zach clarified that Evan was always presenting himself as straight, which raised even more eyebrows, 'cause it's been noticed that this is a pattern with James. Reaching for guys who either aren't interested or who might see him as just a stepping stone for clout. Oh, and Zach also revealed he had a strong feeling James was planning to bring Evan to Coachella. But with all this drama blowing up, that obviously didn't happen. Thank goodness! But let's be real. None of this is looking good for James. People are once again pointing out that, despite all his past apologies and growth, it's obvious he hasn't truly changed. The same cycle just keeps repeating. And honestly, At this point, it's hard to believe he'll ever learn. Years have gone by, scandal after scandal, and James keeps ending up in the same kind of mess every single time. Fans are starting to wake up. Many say they're only watching him now because he's James Charles, not because they believe in him anymore. And while James keeps playing the victim, saying he was used and manipulated, people aren't buying it. The reality is clear. James is chasing the wrong people in the worst ways, and that's exactly why the same drama keeps following him. This time, it just looks worse than ever because he wasn't just involved with some random person. It was his friend's ex, and someone with a terrible reputation. The receipts are out, the internet's watching, and James's image, it's cracking wide open once again.